And I have found in many, many cases with everybody I've taught this to that it takes a lot of the pain of separation and a lot of the pain of conflict in relationship, and it turns it into a spiritual practice that ultimately allows us to practice being connected to everyone and everything to the degree that we choose to be through prayer or through meditative focus. Hi everybody, today for my video blog I thought I would talk about how to stay connected to people that you love, such as family members, but that you've lost connection to due to some kind of a difference or a pain. And what made me want to share this with you is all of this stuff with COVID has caused so much division in families, mine included, that people that once were loving and supportive of each other now are diametrically opposed. And I've experienced that full force in my family. So what I do, and what I recommend anybody do, because it's easy to do and it's far better than being disconnected, is what I call loving at safe distance. If it's causing too much polarity or it's hard for you to control yourself sending text messages or emails because they can easily get inflammatory, and also things like that are easily misunderstood, then what you can do is you can connect to them at the level of the soul. So what you do is you just empty yourself and go into the state you'd be in for prayer. And so, for example, my mother and I don't see eye to eye on these things. And so in order to stay connected to my mother, as an example, I just say to my soul with the conscious intention, "Dear soul, please connect me to the soul of my mother." And then I just hold the vision of my mother in my mind. If you know, your soul knows. And then I say to my soul, "Tell me when we're connected." And typically when your soul's saying yes, you get an uprising of energy. A no is a sinking of energy, like the feeling that you get when someone's telling you a lie, or someone asks you to do something you just don't want to do. So then I start by saying, "Dear soul, please connect me to the soul of my mother. Let me know when we're connected." Then I just empty my mind and just relax inside. And when I feel that uprising of energy, I then say to my soul, "Are we connected?" If you get the uprising of energy, that's a yes. And then I just say, "Dear soul of my mother, can you hear me? It's Paul." And I wait, and again, when the uprising of energy comes, then I would just speak to my mom, say something like, "Mom, I know we don't see eye to eye on all these COVID issues and everything that's involved, but I love you. I honor and respect your choices. I know that you're doing what you feel is best for you. Please know that I'm doing what I feel is best and safest for me and my family. It is my intention only to support you with education and information to keep you safe, not to make you feel wrong. But I wanted to take a little time out of my day just to connect to you at my heart and let you know that even though we're not talking by phone or email, that I am still with you and I am still connected to you, and I do love you, and thank you for all the love you've given me and all the opportunities you've given me, and for being my mother and giving me the opportunity to live." And whatever you can share with that person that's genuinely an expression of your love for that person. It's not really good to go into a bunch of justification of your reasons why, or getting into a long dialogue, or like trying to carry on the argument that maybe separated you in the first place. The soul really is an expression of unconditional love. So the soul is really God within each individual. So you're talking to that person's highest self, the part of them that knows intimately who you are, and that part of you knows intimately who they are, beyond surface appearances of the ego. And it's quite amazing. I've had a lot of my clients communicate to me how through using that method, all of a sudden there was a shift in the other person that they've never seen happen before, and that they were much more open and receptive, and that things were much easier to heal and move on. Ultimately, this might sound woo-woo to a lot of people, but we're all connected by the same consciousness. There's a great book called One Mind by Larry Dossey that goes at great length to explaining that. But ultimately, consciousness is ubiquitous. Everything in creation is the, shall we say, the condensation of consciousness. There's an old saying, matter is spirit moving slowly enough that you can interact with it. So our bodies, the world, the stars, everything is really spirit, or the consciousness of source, moving slowly enough so that we can interact with what looks like something out there but is the rest of ourself. And it's the same with each soul, whether it be the soul of a cat, a dog, a plant, or a tree. They're all expressions of the one source. Some people call it God, whatever name you want to give it. You can call it pure potential if you're into physics, but ultimately you're really just connecting to another aspect of source, and it is your consciousness that is an expression of the consciousness that everyone else's consciousness as self is an expression of. So it's really just about removing any ideological barriers to separation based on the illusion that we get when you see someone standing across from you, and realizing that the higher truth is that we're really all expressions of that one thing. So you're talking to the mother of yourself, or the friend of yourself, or the aunt, or the uncle, or the coworker. But by opening your heart to that person and genuinely connecting in the safety and security and privacy of your own space, where it's not likely to lead to conflict, then you keep generating love and affection and empathy and compassion for that person. And that keeps you from holding on to biases or judgments or things that make you want to avoid the person, so that by the time you do get to interact with them, you've already got that openness of heart. You already know in your own heart, even if they're at the level of their ego, they don't know that you've been staying connected to them and you've been loving them. And I have found in many, many cases with everybody I've taught this to, that it takes a lot of the pain of separation and a lot of the pain of conflict in relationship, and it turns it into a spiritual practice that ultimately allows us to practice being connected to everyone and everything to the degree that we choose to be, through prayer or through meditative focus. So I just felt compelled to share that with everybody based on all the challenges going on in the world and all the broken families I keep hearing about. And the same technique works whether the person's actually in the physical or not, so you can connect to your loved ones on the other side doing that. The body is what dies, but the soul or the consciousness never dies. You know, basic physics. Energy produced can be transformed but not destroyed. So what we all are is really intelligent energy expressing itself, and the physical death of the body does not mean the death of the intelligent energy that once lived in them as soul. So you can contact that person through the same intention, no matter whether they're in this plane or in another plane of conscious existence. So hope you enjoy practicing that. If you're in doubt, give it a try. Don't be closed-minded, or you'll meet yourself everywhere you go and life will get boring and flat. And even if you believe it doesn't work, it is a practice of loving someone and using your intention for positive means. So if you're not sure about how it works, or don't even believe that it can work, then there's one thing you can know for sure, that the act of intentionally opening your heart to love somebody else does work. It's a good practice. You can feel it. And it's not only healing for the other, it's healing for you. So thanks for joining me today.